Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with a blog to watch. Today I'm going to review the Marathon US 250 Anthracite Navigator. This is a special limited edition watch created by Canadian Marathon for the 250th anniversary of the United States. And I have to say, I'm starting to think that foreigners celebrate America's birthday maybe a little bit better than we do. But this is a really great watch. Now, what's important to understand about this is why Marathon? Why would they do this? There are plenty of watch companies that in 2026 are participating in the 250th anniversary of the United States. They're making watches for it. There's all kinds of celebrations, and a lot of them are Swiss companies or foreign companies. Some of them are American, but most of them are not. Why is Marathon sort of uniquely legitimate in this space? Well, if you don't know too much about Marathon, then you won't realize that they've been an authentic military and government watch supplier for a number of years, since World War II. So to have an anniversary watch by a company that's been officially supplying watches to the US government is a little bit different than a pure commercial play. And I think that makes this really fun. There's a couple of things that Marathon has done on this watch for the first time ever, which if you're a Marathon enthusiast and fan, you'll notice. For example, the display caseback. There is a caseback with a motif of an American flag on the sapphire crystal over the movement. And the movement is their specially modified Sellita SW200 with a anthracite coating on there. So this very dark, almost black coating on the rotor and movement. So Marathon already specially regulates the SW200 movements that they get from Swiss-made Sellita, but this one has a little bit more cosmetic decoration on it. And this is not just the first Navigator watch with a display case back. According to Marathon, this is the first Marathon watch ever, at least in the modern sense, with a display case back. I noticed that immediately, and that's kind of interesting that they would have that here. So for fans of the brand that like display case backs, this is kind of amazing. You've probably never seen anything quite like that. I do like the effect of the American flag on there, but again, it's just cool to see the decorated version of the movement that Marathon is so proud of because they regulate it, and the case is, of course, in-house in their Swiss factory in La Chaux-de-Fonds. This watch is based on the steel version of the Navigator. So we've talked about this watch before. It's also known as the Navigator SSNAV-D. The D stands for the date, because you can see there's a date window in there. Why specifically steel? Why specifically automatic? Well, the thing is that Marathon makes this watch in a non-steel case, and also has this watch with various different movements, including quartz. So that's why it's important to understand that there's various different versions of the Navigator. The Navigator itself is a watch that I've reviewed multiple times on a blog to watch, and it's typified by its asymmetric design. You can see that this side of the case with the crown is thicker than the left side of the case, which does not have a crown. And that asymmetry is something that some people love, some people not so into, but according to Marathon, it's a real signature of the Navigator. The Navigator was designed as a pilot's watch. The first ones were quartz, and they came out in around 1986 for, I think, Kelly Air Force Base in the United States. The pilots there needed a new type of wristwatch. It had a rotating bezel, but rather than a timing bezel, such as a diver-style bezel, this has hour markers, and the bezel rotates in both directions. There's an aluminum insert here, and the bezel has a very nice action to it. Feels good, nice clicks. Always a great bezel on the Navigator. Looks cool too. Another thing the Navigator is known for, like most Marathon watches, is use of tritium gas tubes for illumination. And there's a small Easter egg here. The 12 is a red colored one as opposed to the standard green. And that is, I think, a reference for the Rockets' Red Blare as part of the national anthem. There's a few little things like that. And again, I love that the Canadians got more excited about the anniversary than seemingly the Americans did. There is actually an applied plaque on the dial. It looks like just a printing, but underneath the 12 o'clock marker there, you can see a plaque. It says 1776. Of course, that's the year that the United States was formed, the colonies beating the British in the Revolutionary War of Independence. So that's the importance of that year. Of course, it's circled by the stars, alluding to the original flag of the 13 colonies. That's another little element on there. One of my favorite elements, actually, of this watch is the strap. Now, this is a black Bison strap. Bison's a cool leather, to be honest, but why bison? Well, the bison animal is very important to the history of the United States. We sure killed a lot of them, and it is maybe the national animal or something like that. I remember when I used to live in San Francisco, they had some bison in Golden Gate Park, and I thought I was so fortunate to see this creature that had been so prominent and so common, and now you really couldn't find. And people have all heard about the bison, but I don't think that many people have actually seen them. They're actually quite large, elegant animals. Another thing which is interesting about this is the anthracite dark coating on the steel case. This is not the first time that Marathon has made a darker case, but this is not quite black. It's sort of a dark gray, and it has a really nice matte finishing to it. So why they decided to do a dark, almost brooding, all black case for the anniversary of the United States, you know, maybe there's a little joke in there, maybe not, I don't know. But black watches of this character tend to be popular, so I'm not complaining about it. I'm simply saying that there's clearly a lot of emotional intent that went into this watch, and maybe someone at Marathon thinks it's black days ahead for the United States. They won't be the only ones. But you know what? No matter what you think, the black color in this watch looks great. I love the 1776 there. Marathon moved their name down a little bit, and they learned about doing that through relationships with other companies such as Jeep. So Marathon has made some of the official watches for Jeep, the automobile Jeep, and they did something similar by moving their logo down a little bit, and I think it works out pretty well. So we talked about the movement. It is the Swiss-made Sellita SW200, which has been modified mostly for shock resistance and, of course, the aesthetics in this particular watch. And we have the tritium gas tubes on the dial there. The watch is 41 millimeters wide. Doesn't wear that big, but it looks a little bit big because of the this sort of asymmetry there. It has a 48 millimeter lug-to-lug distance. Overall, a very nice, comfortable wearing watch. And this Bison strap, it's really selling itself on me. I just thought they did a really, really nice job with this timepiece. The GMT bezel offers another added level of interest. So if you have watches like this, but maybe not one with this specific type of bezel or this specific type of asymmetric case, I think that Marathon did a pretty good job. So an overall just handsome military style watch, some nice elegant nods to the U.S.'s 250th anniversary, our national anthem, certain little just call outs and Easter eggs, but not too much, not too much. I like that they didn't go wild there. I think this is going to be a big hit for a lot of the people that like Marathon watches, both in and out of the United States for that matter. This watch has special pricing as well as being limited. So of course it's limited to 250 pieces. That makes sense because it's the 250th anniversary of the United States. And the price, which is actually not too much more than the retail price, but this does have some special features, is $1,776. So again, $1,776 is the price as well as the year that this watch is commemorating. You can see more about this Marathon anthracite version of the SSNAV-D for the US's 250th anniversary and other similar Marathon watches on the blog2watch.com website. I'd love to hear what you think about this in the comments. Thanks so much.